Hello and welcome back to the Film Club. The club where we talk about films we've been recently watching, viewing and enjoying. Let me know what you've been recently watching and enjoying, and if you've seen what I'm about to talk about, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. I was excited for Fantastic Four when the first trailer came out. I was really excited for it. Then, the more trailers that came out, my excitement seemed to dwindle. I don't know if that's for anybody else felt the same, but I just felt like the more I saw of this film, I was like, please just hide it away. I don't want to see it. And so going into the film, I wasn't necessarily crazy excited, but I was interested to see what they were doing, because this has got the real benefit of you don't have to watch X, Y, and Z Marvel shows to understand what's going on with this character. You're not gonna just be fueled by crazy cameos. It's got a brilliant cast. It's not got the restraints of the Marvel universe, and so I was excited for that factor, the fact that they were going in a different direction as well, it being in this sort of 50s, 60s type aesthetic world, but blended with the futuristicness of it. I was excited, and it's also the first time that Marvel was actually getting their hands on the Fantastic Four name, so there was a lot to be excited about. But yeah, I don't know, I just wasn't crazy hyped for it, and going into it, I enjoyed this film. Was it perfect? And did I have a few it wasn't perfect. I had a few gripes with it along the way, but overall, it is just a decent film. Did I leave the cinema going, this is a top Marvel film? No. But is it a decent film? Yes. And I feel like that's sort of the trajectory that Marvel's going in, and if they stay in that, then I'm happy to be in that lane. Thunderbolts wasn't incredible, but it was decent. Fantastic Four, not incredible, but decent. If we just have this, decent standard of quality, then I would love Marvel again. I think that would be brilliant. I'm not going to say Marvel's back, because it has been back for a while. Marvel is just at a decent level. If we can just scrape off some of the shit, like Captain America, I can't remember the name of it, the new one, number 4. If we can scrape away stuff like that, then I do think that we'll be at a really decent standpoint. And I am actually ready for a Marvel Universe reset, because I think Marvel has dug themselves into such a deep, huge pit that they just can't get out of. There are so many characters just sprawled all over the place. There is so many loose ends that they don't really want to actually tie up. Just more than you can actually even remember at this point. It is so messy. The timeline, I go into every film going what year is this? Because you had the time skip, and then other stuff's moved around, and it's just lost at the minute. And they need a reset, and it would be a beautiful reset. Don't get me wrong, I'll be sad to lose some of the actors and some of the characters, but you've got to this point where, to be honest, so in my opinion, a Marvel Universe reset is going to be phenomenal for the fact that I don't think the current Marvel Universe is a Marvel Universe. I think this is an Avengers universe. I don't mean in terms of well, no, I do mean the storyline. So in my opinion, everything that Marvel does is based around the Avengers in the films. And that is not what Marvel should be. Marvel should have all these different teams. The Avengers is, to be honest, Earth level threats. I said that completely wrong. But they can also divulge into other spaces as well. I feel like they've just built up the IP of Avengers so strongly that it kind of damages everything else, because everything's got to link back to the Avengers, and it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Because imagine this universe reset, and you've got a new set of Avengers, you've got the X-Men, you've got Fantastic Four. There are so many different avenues that we could go down, and so many different films. And as well, it feels we've had cameos now. We've had the Endgame films where you've got all these characters coming together. It's cool to see. But each film needs to stand on its own 2 feet for it to work, for it to be good. Each character needs to be able to have their own moment in the spotlight without just being tagged along with, or just something like that. I think this universe reset will do it really good, but it's also sort of damaging films like Fantastic Four for me, because like I enjoyed Fantastic Four and I thought, cool, these set of actors are decent for the characters, but I'm not going to get attached to this version of the characters because they're all just going to get reset and changed anyway. So I'm not like investing myself in these characters. I'm not like sat going, oh yeah, I can't wait for these 4 characters to come up again and again and again, because like I really enjoyed this as a first Fantastic Four film, like an introduction into the Fantastic Four family. And now I'm like, cool, give me another one. Like, give me another one where we see all of their powers like being used. Because that was one of my gripes, which I'll get into in a little bit, is that I don't feel like we saw enough of the powers of the Fantastic Four. But at the same time, I understand why, because it's the first film, technically, that they're in. And so I'd love to then get another film where we see them just like actually being superheroes and it not being like a threat level like Galactus, and it's just like them being the Fantastic Four, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. But we're not going to get that, because they're going to appear in Doomsday, and then maybe Secret Wars, and then I'm pretty sure it's a universe reset, and we're just going to never see them again. Like, we're going to see the Fantastic Four again, but we're not going to see these Fantastic Four again. So, yeah, anyway, with all that out of the way, I enjoyed Fantastic Four. I think it was a decent film. It was just a decent superhero film in terms of the story. The look of it was really nice. Like I said, the aesthetic of this film is really what sold it for me, I think. I would love more films that looked like that in the Marvel do. I know they can't because it's in a different universe, but it would be really cool to see. One of my biggest gripes with this film is that, like I say, I just don't feel like I saw much of them using their powers. Like, I feel like it was very Johnny Storm, Sue Storm focused. We only really saw Reed Richards' powers in the last final like fight, and that's about it. He's so underutilized. I'd love to see more of him. The Thing barely did anything. Like, genuinely barely did anything. Apart from knocking over that building, and when Johnny Storm like flies him through the sky, that's about it. Like, I would have loved to see more of them working as a team, working together, using their powers, and just seeing the powers. Like, I feel like this is the first time where I've gone, oh, they have done Reed Richards' powers right. Like, the way that he was just like stretching and flipping up the buildings was just smooth. It was clean. It was nice. But give me more. That's what I want more of. It felt like Johnny Storm was the only person actually using his powers consistently. So, I don't know. And my other gripe with this film, and I genuinely hate to say this because I love the man, the weakest actor is Pedro Pascal. Everyone else I was so sold on. Like, Joseph Quinn was a phenomenal Human Torch. Like, he had that sort of quirky, like, funny, playful side, but then also could get serious. And I genuinely I'd love to see him a lot more. Vanessa Kirby, for me, was the absolute standout. I think her as Sue Storm was phenomenal. Like, her range for the character, her fit for this, especially with the story being, like, almost told about a mother. I think just she did an outstanding job of just bringing this character to life and sort of showing it's a tough act to play, almost, with it being like this whole dilemma of the Earth or your child. And so I think she did just a phenomenal performance with the whole thing. Pedro just didn't fit for me as Reed Richards. Like, for me, Reed Richards is sort of a semi-diluted down version of like a Tony Stark, where he's charismatic and he's like smarter than everyone in the room, but he's got this sort of like charm about him in some senses the way, but he also can like fixate a little bit more, like less so than how Tony would just always be cracking jokes, whereas Reed is a little bit more serious, but also still has a bit of a pizzazz. Pedro just didn't have anything. Like, it was just such a flat performance. It was just so one-dimensional. Like, it just felt like he was just sort of bitching and moaning, and that was it for the whole film. Like, it just felt like he just he didn't really have much range for the character, which is weird because I've seen him in other stuff where he could easily have done better. I don't know if it's down to like a directional issue or it's the writing. I don't know what it is. It just didn't fit right for me, and it was the only one out of the four. The Things actor, I can't remember his name, but I love him in The Bear, and I think he did a great job. Everyone did a great job, but just not Pedro. Which, like I say, hurts me to say. But those are my only two gripes with the film. It was Pedro, which I wasn't sold on, and the fact that I wanted to see more of the powers. So if they're my only two issues with the film, then I suppose it could be classed as a success in my eyes. Galactus was a really cool villain. I'd love to see more of him. I feel like it was not that it was underutilized, but I feel like if you didn't read the comics, you didn't know the sort of significance of him as a character, like coming in, it would probably just be like this is just another big bad guy coming to destroy the world, and then they save the day, and that's it. Like, not that he didn't have significance, but I feel like Galactus is a villain that you use more than once. Like, he's sort of a staple character, in my opinion. Not that he, like, stays forever, but just that, you know, he's built up, or they have multiple fights against him and stuff like that. Same with Silver Surfer. That was a phenomenal, like, I really enjoyed that as well. The element of Silver Surfer and Johnny Storm, and that sort of, if you can class it as a relationship, that kind of side of things. Just a solid film, to be honest. The CGI was decent. It had a few little bits where I thought, maybe not. But for the most part, it was good. I really can't complain. I know I've just complained a lot, but there are only two small gripes. The rest of the film I enjoyed. But anyway, let me know. What did you think of the Fantastic Four First Steps? And I'll see you next time on the Film Club.